Wherever you may be watching, we wish you a happy Mother's Day as the Blue Jays are hoping for their second sweep of the season. If they get it, it comes today against the Los Angeles Angels. Let's take you up to the broadcast booth for the men who will call this game. Dan Schulman is with Caleb Joseph.
Jamie, the good news is that the Blue Jays are going for a sweep this afternoon against the Angels, but they're facing Jose Soriano, one of the better starting pitchers in the American League. George Springer is getting a day off. John Schneider trying to keep him fresh for the long haul. And then, Caleb, late news, Addison Barger scratched with soreness in his right elbow.
The original lineup we got, Dan, had Addison Barger leading off, but that is not going to be the case. And the Blue Jays are going to run a lineup out there that is familiar with fans in terms of not having Springer and not having Barger. They've got Ernie Clement up at the top. He had 5 hits yesterday. They're going to have to look for contributions up and down this lineup. Maybe it's a guy like Miles Straw that has hit right-handed pitching very well this year. Or maybe it's Jimenez who can get underneath the sinker and put one in the seats. I look for Sosa to have a good game just based off of his swing path, and we know Okamoto's been absolutely on fire. They're going to need a 1-9 approach versus Soriano because he's a tough customer.
Again, they've won 2 in a row. They certainly broke out yesterday. Maybe that momentum can continue here today. On the mound, Jamie, it'll be Spencer Miles as the opener. Eric Lauer certainly figures in the middle innings, and the high leverage guys are rested if there's a lead late.
Thank you, Dan. The Angels lineup is loaded with right-handers today. Final game of the series comes your way here on Sportsnet right after this.
Welcome to Rogers Blue Jays baseball on Sportsnet, and happy Mother's Day to all the great moms out there today. There are a lot of moms in the ballpark here today. It's another sellout. It's another big crowd. It's a Junior Jays Sunday. It really has so many special things going on here this afternoon. Glad you are along with us as the Blue Jays will try to complete the sweep over the visiting Los Angeles Angels here today. The Angels down to 10 games under 500 now at 15-25. A look at their lineup, and of course it includes Mike Trout, who will be the DH today. And the Blue Jays, you hate to even say it out loud, but they've held them in check so far in the first 2 games of the series. They have pitched in tough. Look at all those right-handed batters. Remember, the Blue Jays are using an opener in Spencer Miles. The Angels as good a team as any to do this with. Lauer has struggled in the first inning, and Miles has been very tough on right-handed batters.
His longest outing, Dan, 3 2/3, 43 pitches. Could it be something that they're trying to get through an entire first round of that lineup? It's possible. The former Rule 5 pick from San Francisco has had a good showing so far. 18 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts. That front hip sinker to lefty's really been a weapon for him. See if he can kind of incorporate that against the Angels today. On defense for the Blue Jays today in the finale, Miles Straw in left field. You're going to see Varsho in center. Jesus Sanchez is in right field. Barger was originally scheduled to be in right field, but not today. Okamoto, Jimenez, Clement, Lenin Sosa makes a start at first base, and Tyler Heineman is behind the plate for the finale.
And again, you will see a lot of pink in the ballpark. This is for Mother's Day, but also more specifically as Major League Baseball tries to raise awareness in the fight against breast cancer. There are all kinds of initiatives and online ways that you can help, and that's what today is about, just to put it front and center in everybody's mind that everybody must do whatever they can in the fight against cancer, and specifically today against breast cancer. Ready for the ball game here. The home plate umpire is Lance Barrett. Zach Neto leading it off again for the Angels. And Spencer Miles misses just a hair low for ball 1. Neto has struck out 58 times this year. That is second to most in the American League. Again, had a very good year last year, off to a slow start this year. Hitting .222, does have 6 homers. The Angels after this series will head to Cleveland for 3. Blue Jays will stay home and await the arrival of the Tampa Bay Rays, who just swept them down at the Trop. And Valenzuela wanted that one too, but it being as early as it is in the game, you could see he thought about it but opted not to challenge.
Yep, and it's one of those things where you're trying to figure out, do I use it here? Is this the spot? Am I 100% sure?
That's fouled off. Remember, he used two. Well, he actually used three in the third inning a few games ago. One of them was correct, but two of them were incorrect, and the Blue Jays were out of challenges in the third inning. And as John Schneider somewhat delicately says, they had a conversation about that, and I imagine that won't happen again. So it's the kind of thing, early in the game, you're a little more cautious. The later it gets and you've still got a couple of challenges, then you can get more aggressive.
And you know, Dan, as a catcher, you know those blatant, that's absolutely a strike. Those are probably the ones you want to challenge.
And forgive me, I said Valenzuela. Of course, Heineman is catching here today. Here's the 2-2, and it is fouled off. But the same thing applies, and we haven't seen Heineman rush to judgment early in the game. You know, maybe a little bit more experienced, a little bit more, you know, thinking it through deep. Nothing, but it can turn into a big thing later on in the game. 2-2 is hit high in the air down the left field line. Foul into the 500 level, but just foul down the left field line. Just a strike.
A long strike is what they say. Miles trying to go up and away with the fastball, and Neto gets every bit of it. He's got some wiry pop in that frame. 6 homers.
26 last year. And now he takes a fastball down the middle for strike 3 call.
You know, I absolutely love that pitch call from Heineman. He gives up about a 450-foot strike and comes right back with the fastball. So many times pitchers will get a little bit timid once they see you hit that first fastball. They might want to go to a breaking ball, and he locks him up because he outguesses him on.
1 for 7, 5 strikeouts in the series. Late on the fastball, and it's 0-1. Miles did pitch once in the series in Anaheim 3 weeks ago. He faced Neto, he faced Trout, he faced Adele, he faced Soler, each of them once, and he retired all 4 of them. 0-2. Mike Trout has very, very good career numbers against the Blue Jays. Great numbers here at the Rogers Center. Only Aaron Judge has a higher career OPS in this building than Mike Trout. Miles gets him, 2 down.
The Blue Jays have done a fantastic job keeping Trout in check this year. That's the 10th strikeout in 19 at-bats versus Trout. It's a hang and break 'em ball, but because you got 97 in the tank, Trout locks him up just a little bit. That little hesitation right there, and just cannot put barrel to baseball.
Back-to-back strikeouts to begin the ball game, and here is Vaughn Grissom, the third baseman. Again, a perfect lineup to use an opener in a righty such as Miles, a guy who has been tough on righties. The Angels heavily loaded with right-handed batters. And really, Kurt Suzuki, Caleb, set up his lineup as if Eric Lauer were starting, almost ignoring the fact that there is an opener today. Maybe John Schneider lets Miles go a little bit, lets him, sometimes it's an inning or maybe 4 or 5 outs. Maybe he lets him go as long as he can go.
And if he's efficient with this type of stuff, absolutely. Spencer Miles has really answered the bell. Looks really, really sharp today.
Lined into left, a base hit, as he left a breaking ball in the middle of the zone, and Grissom made good contact. So a 2-out base runner for the Angels, and that'll bring their cleanup hitter to the plate, Jorge Soler. And a broken back ground ball to the right side. And Soler will be thrown out. Good range there for Ernie Clement, and a very nice job in the first for Spencer Miles. Tuesday, including Ernie Clement, Let's see if that bat had as many hits in it as the bat he used yesterday did. Ernie tied a career high by going 5 for 5 yesterday. And with George Springer not in the lineup, and then Addison Barger, who was scheduled to be the leadoff hitter, the late scratch with elbow soreness, Clement up to leadoff. Varsho moved up to 2. Okamoto actually dropped from 2 to 4. An entirely reconfigured lineup for the Blue Jays. They will face Jose Soriano for the second time this year.
9th start of the year for Soriano. His last 2 have been really tough. Consecutive starts versus the White Sox. 8 earned runs in 9 total innings pitched. He gave up 4 homers against the Sox. Jays faced him on the 22nd. Got 7 hits, but weren't able to really muster and push anything across. Might be when they're getting him that's most important, and he might be vulnerable right now.
Yeah, no extra base hits, didn't score, did get him out of the game, put the ball in play, even though some of the hits were ground ball base hits. But as you say, his last 2 starts, both against the White Sox, his 2 roughest starts of the season. He set an all-time major league record by having an ERA of 0.24 after 6 starts. He gave up 1 run in his first 6 starts, but 8 in the last 2. The 2-0 is drilled deep left center field, but caught on the track by Bryce Teodosio. Had Clement pulled it just a hair more, he's looking at a double, maybe a homer.
And it just had that little sound. Maybe it was a little bit low on the barrel, just about a stitch and a half low on the barrel. You see that fastball coming in. Yep, just a little bit close to the label. Direction was good. Good swing. Good to see Ernie get that ball in the air right out the gate. That's what you want to see. You want to try and get that ball elevated versus Soriano.
Here's Dalton Varsho. Went 1 for 2 with a base hit against Soriano back in Anaheim. Varsho was telling us before the game today, you know, there's a lot of talk about the ground balls and the 97-mile-an-hour sinker, but he said the curveball from Soriano is much sharper than it used to be. This is, I believe, hit the foot of Soriano, ricochets out to Neto, and Varsho is safe.
You know, Dalton Varsho comes from a long lineage of baseball players, and he plays the game the right way. Right out of the box, he is busting it. You see him, he's taking off. He sees that play right in front of him. He sees that ball hit right off of Soriano's leg. He sees it's going right to Neto, and Neto is in no hurry, and he just flat out hustles him.
1 on, 1 out for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. DHing this afternoon. Vladdy went 0 for 2 against Soriano in Anaheim. A line out to left and a strikeout. And there's the curveball. So he's got a 2-seamer, a 4-seamer, a splitter, and a curve. When he's on with a 2-seamer, gets a ton of ground balls. Although he's not throwing his, quote, best pitch as much this year. He's throwing more 4-seamers to get the hitters looking up and down. So he's not getting as many ground balls, but he's trying to get a little bit more swing and miss, maybe up in the zone. Mike Maddox, longtime pitching coach, looking on. Strike taken, 1 and 2. That's the 4-seamer there. He gives you a lot to think about.
Oh yeah, he's got 5-pitch mix and with extreme velocity. Large human.
Curveball in the dirt, ball 2.
And a lot of times, Dan, those sinker ballers, they will try and protect it. And some guys use the slider to protect it. They want to use that curveball to push and pull. But in an era where there is whiff at the top with some ride, sometimes they'll try and throw some of those 4-seamers. But when they do that, sometimes they lose the feel for that sinker. And I wonder if that might be the case with Soriano.
Full count. All right, you got pretty good speed at first. Okamoto's on deck. Guerrero is known to hit the ball on the ground. You start the runner.
I think I would. Varsho's obviously showing some really strong legs. I think you press the envelope, get a little greedy here in game 3.
Angels thinking the same thing.
Soriano not very quick to the plate as well. As a base runner, you just got to make sure that you get your read. You're trusting the timing of all this. It's not a straight steal. You're just trusting the play.
Bit of a bigger lead now for Varsho after that throw over. He's running, and it's grounded back to Soriano, whose only play is to first, and starting the runner just might have kept him out of the double play.
No doubt about it. It's come back right to Soriano. He throws that glove hand up, and he's able to snag it right away. And he was immediately trying to turn towards second base. Watch him snag this ball, and he immediately was going to second. If that was on his glove side versus his arm side, I think he would have gone ahead and thrown it, even if Varsho was safe, just knowing he could go back to first and get Vladdy.
So Varsho at second, 2 down, and here's Kazuma Okamoto coming in on an 8-game hitting streak. Okamoto went 1 for 4 with an RBI single in yesterday's game. I would think the Angels' conversations about Okamoto pregame are different than the ones they were having a few weeks ago when the Blue Jays were out in Anaheim. A low strike there. It's 1-1. Spencer Miles is coming back out, as we talked about. Maybe John Schneider gives him a little run here with all these righties. Eric Lauer will be pitching in this game, but he hasn't started throwing yet. You know, instead of opener and bulk guy, this might be like first pitcher and second pitcher. And you ride Miles as long as you can ride him.
And because Lauer is in that kind of starter mentality, he'll need some time. He won't be able to go up there and be ready in 2 or 3 minutes.
I remember a few years ago, Milwaukee was in a playoff series, and Craig Counsell was doing all kinds of creative stuff. He was the manager of the Brewers then, and somebody asked him about the roles, and he said, guys, forget that. Forget the names. Forget the titles. He's an out-getter. He's an out-getter. He's an out-getter.
Go get him.
Yeah. Swing and a miss, 3-2. Jesus Sanchez hitting in the 5 spot today. Blue Jays looking for an early lead here in the bottom of the first. Oh, there's a lot of noise. Moms and kids everywhere here at the ballpark today. Lined into left and down the line. Varsho in to score. And Kaz Okamoto has done it again. An RBI double, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays.
It extends his hit streak to 9 games. Now 12 for 32 through that span. 16 RBIs. He's hitting the fastball. He's on time and ready. It's been the biggest difference, is being ready for that heater, being ready to pull it. It's exactly what he does. He has really settled in that 4-hole.
I mean, pulling 97 seemingly with ease. He has just been such a different hitter the last 2.5 weeks. Here's Jesus Sanchez, who hit a home run yesterday, but it was off Adam Frazier, a position player in the 9th inning. Also had an RBI single, but remember, that was the looper down the line that bounced just fair. So let's see if he can put good wood on the ball, maybe driving Okamoto here. And Soriano falls behind again. It is 2-0. As you can see, they had a ton of opportunities yesterday with runners in scoring position, and they did the job. Season high in hits and runs yesterday. Soriano on the corner with that 2-seamer, 2-1. But good decision not to swing at that pitch, right? Good pitcher's pitch.
Pitcher's pitch. There's really nothing you can do with it. In that count, you're really trying to look for the ball up and turn and burn on it.
Just up and away, ball 3. A 1-out single by Varsho, takes second on a Guerrero grounder, comes in on an Okamoto double. And now the 3-1 to Sanchez is ball 4. Another close pitch, but it goes the Blue Jays' way, and the inning continues. 22 pitches. Soriano looking a little frustrated out there. The batter now, Lenine Sosa, who would have been in the lineup anyways, even without the Barger news. Guerrero was going to DH. Sosa was always in there at first base. Sosa played in the game against Soriano in Anaheim 3 weeks ago and went 1 for 2 against him. Fastball for a strike. And Soriano, unable to get on the same page with his catcher Sebastian Rivero, backs off the rubber for a moment. Blue Jays have been patient so far, have been selective. They're getting that pitch count up. Maybe a little too selective right there, and it's 0-2. Although it was on the outside corner.
It was.
Yeah. Yep, good pitcher's pitch, good spot. So he's out in front 0-2. Second disengagement, right? Just stepped off for the second time. Now he stepped off again, but that's because Sosa used a timeout, so that's not on the pitcher. Not the way those guys wanted to see the ball game begin. 0-2, and he strikes him out to end the inning. But the Blue Jays do get the first run of the ball game, and who else but Kaz Okamoto staying hot, a 2-out RBI double into the left field corner. 1-0 Blue Jays.
Well, if you want to get around on a full count fastball like Kazuma Okamoto did in that last inning you just watched, it's going to take a lightning quick bat, and that's what Okamoto had there. That was an 81-mile-per-hour swing, his 4th hardest swing this season, and this is something that we've seen more from him this month than we saw in the first month of the season. We've covered the physical adjustments that he's made in the box, moving back and inching closer to the plate, but the other thing that he's done is he's changed his intent at the plate. The Blue Jays talked to him after the first month about just being more intentful, getting his ace swing off more often, and as you'll see here, he is swinging 3 miles per hour harder on average. He's getting a fast swing off, which is a swing of 75 miles per hour or harder nearly 65% of the time in May, after doing so only a third of the time, Dan, in April.
And the results are obvious. There's a lot going on. Getting more comfortable, moving back in the batter's box, swinging with more intent. But doesn't it all, Caleb, stem from just getting acclimated, getting comfortable, getting more information? He's kind of getting past the point where everything is new.
Absolutely. You're getting comfortable in your environment. You're starting to earn the respect and trust of your teammates, and you start to learn the languages. The communication between hitting coach and player starts to become more clear. Remember, there's a language barrier there as well.
Yeah.
And just knowing exactly what the team wants from you, you see a little bit of results. Before you know it, you start swinging faster and faster and faster, and results keep coming.
Spencer Miles back out for the top of the second. 1-2 the count on Joe Adell. And again, Miles is a guy who has shown he's capable of going more than an inning. He has done that on a number of occasions. One time actually went 3 2/3 earlier this year. This is in the air to left center. It is carrying, and it's beyond the reach of Miles Straw. And Joe Adell is into second with a leadoff double.
It's another hanging breaker from Miles. That's the one thing I've seen is fastball looks really good. It's got good action, but the 3rd or 4th hanging breaking ball, would like to see him kind of really focus more down in the zone, as he's doing a lot of the hard work getting these hitters sped up and then having a hard time putting a few of them away with some good quality breaking balls.
Now the only left-handed bat in the Angels lineup today, first baseman Nolan Shotwell. Normally hits higher in the order against a righty, but again, Kurt Suzuki, you can tell, kind of designed his lineup based on Eric Lauer getting most of the innings here today. Miles having no trouble with the fastball, either the two-seamer or the four-seamer. Let's see if he stays with one of the fastballs, or now with a 2-strike count, does he go to either the curve or the slider? Went to one of the breaking balls. Looked like the slider up in the zone, fouled off. Play on at second, but back in well ahead of the throw is Adele. And a one-hopper out at deep short. Jimenez to first for the out. Runner going to third and in there safely. So they get the out on kind of a tricky play. Jimenez to Sosa, and then Adele takes third.
Yeah, it was a really good base running play by Adele right off the bat. If he takes off, Jimenez, I guarantee you, spins and throws to Okamoto. But watch Adele, he goes back, but then as soon as he sees Jimenez about to fire, then he takes off. And I think that if Lenin Sosa puts this on the money, he's probably got Adele. He's going to go back, and then there he takes off. And he's a fast guy, but he's not that fast. I think if it's on the money, they get a double play out of that.
Infield in for the Blue Jays. And ball one to Oswald Peraza, the second baseman this afternoon for the Angels. Picked up in a deal last year with the Yankees, I should say. Generally, with a runner at third and one out, you will see the contact play on. No outs, you're a little less aggressive. You still got another out to play with, but generally with one out, anything on the ground, the runner is usually going. Now it depends on the speed of the runner, the infield defense, and that sort of thing. Broken bat, ground ball. And you know what? Broken bat is underselling it right there. He got in his kitchen and then some.
I'm not sure I've seen a three-piece fracture from a bat before, but this ball is getting really close to the hands of Peraza. Look how close that is, and look at the bat exploding in three pieces. One in his hand, the barrel's flying out to shortstop, and another handle piece. Look at how that pitch just bores in on the hand.
That two-seamer of his can be a real problem for righties.
Electric and heavy. There's all three pieces right there.
So two down, the infield can back up, and he starts Sebastian Rivero with a strike. Miles came into the game holding right-handed batters to a 161 average on the season. That's gone up a little bit today. Grissom and Adele have hits, but still he has been very tough on right-handed batters. Jose Soriano had kind of a bumpy first inning. Gave up a couple of hits, gave up a run, walked a batter, threw a lot of pitches. And still no Eric Lauer up throwing. So again, with every passing pitch, you get the feeling John Schneider is going to get as much out of Spencer Miles as he can. Lauer's definitely going to pitch, but it's not soon if he's not up yet. And they might want him to get a clean inning no matter what. Miles has thrown as many as 43 pitches in an outing this season. Outside, 3-1. He wanted that one to be, that two-seamer to be where the one that blew up Peraza, right?
Yep.
Tommy Nance, so he could be the get out of the inning guy if Miles, the pitch count gets up there too high, but you know what, it is not going to. A pop-up. Clement the catch. 2 scoreless innings for Spencer Miles. Well, again, happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms who are watching, all the wonderful moms in attendance here tonight. My mom is here today. Caleb got a chance to meet her before the game. My sister brought my mom up to the booth before the game to say hi. They were engaged in some pretty deep baseball conversation over there.
True fan.
My mom does not miss a game, and happy Mother's Day to my wonderful wife, Lauren, too. She and my son are in that group. A lot of the moms and the boys from school are out here watching the game. You can see at the top, the dads are in the back drinking beers right now. The moms are doing all the work. Look at the dads. Like, the dads have a beer in hand. We're looking here. We're looking there. But happy Mother's Day to my mom, my wife, all the wonderful moms. And I know you feel the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Mother's Day to my mother, to the wife of my children. Just so thankful for everything that y'all do and continue to do in our lives.
1-0 Blue Jays, bottom 2. I can't wait until some of the dads out there who I know start getting texts about, hey man, you just got you got busted.
Busted.
You guys are doing nothing but drinking a beer. Fouled off as Jimenez is going to have to walk that one off. Appears to be okay, and it's 2-2.
Yeah, it sounded like it came right off the top of that leg guard. You can see the puff of smoke or dirt exploding off of that leg guard. Now he'll go into his 2-strike approach, widens out, chokes up a little bit, really tries to battle right here.
And a swing and a miss as Soriano gets him on a splitter for the first down here in the bottom of the second. Well, my man Caleb Joseph has a good memory from Mother's Day. What year is this? This is 2017, and holy cow, big fella, that's a big boy home run.
That park is a pretty big park, but I remember that like it was yesterday, and I wasn't all about the antics, but I remember seeing the camera thinking, this is Mother's Day. My mother was a huge part of my baseball career. She's worth at least 35 wins above replacement, and her heckling ability to heckle the umpires. Our strike zones were tiny, the other teams were massive. She drove me around all over the place and really helped grow my baseball life and career. But to hit a homer on Mother's Day was so special. And the day all in itself is just so special. You get your pink stuff, your pink cleats, and then you hit the homer, and then you deliver that home when you get back after the season. Here's a Mother's Day gift, the bat that I hit the homer with, and I hope you saw my love you message. Yes. And just great memories.
Yeah, for those who can't read lips, that was I love you, Mom, that Caleb said in the dugout as Miles Straw flies out to shallow right, 2 down. Soriano trying to settle down again after kind of a taxing first inning where he fell behind a bunch of hitters. Pitch count got up. Okamoto made him pay with an RBI double. But bottom of the order here, more success so far. A couple of outs, and now facing Tyler Heineman, making his first start of the series after Brandon Valenzuela got the first 2. The ball to right center field, but Teodosio is into the gap to make the catch, and that'll be the inning. 1-0 Blue Jays at the end of 2.
Welcome back to the Rogers Center. A very happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there, but especially all the moms right here at the ballpark. I'm in the WestJet flight deck as part of a very special Mother's Day edition of Junior J Sundays. There are so many activities set up around the ballpark, but right here there are games, face painting, so many more things for moms and kids to do. The energy is always off the charts on Junior J Sundays, but of course a little extra special today because of Mother's Day. And a special reminder that Junior Jays under the age of 14 have the opportunity to burn off some energy, maybe make it easier for mom, and get to run the bases after the game. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I like to think I was a pretty calm kid growing up, but my mom probably disagrees, Jeff.
You know, Anna, I haven't known you that long, but I think I would disagree with that, too.
energy, full of life. Love it.
Yeah, and Anna, you may run into my 7-year-old. I think you're not far from where he is right now, and I'm sure he and his buddies are, they get a lot of energy right now as well. Blue Jays are up 1-0 going top 3, and here is Spencer Miles for more. 30 pitches through 2 scoreless innings. The number 9 hitter, Bryce Teodosio, getting a start in center field, hitting .270 in limited at bats. Very good defender, very fast runner. Undrafted. You don't see too many of these guys who are not drafted coming out of either high school or college and have made the big leagues. Tommy Nance is another one of those guys. And speaking of Nance, he is starting to throw. So you can see Lauer in the background there. So Lauer is going to come into this game, but again, maybe they want him to get a clean inning. So perhaps Nance is the get out of the inning guy if Miles needs help. Okamoto, nice play to get Teodosio. You know, and when you think about the concept of an opener, you want him to face the guys at the top of the order who are the other team's best hitters. You feel he's a good matchup for them. So whoever the bulk guy is doesn't have to face the top of the order an extra time. Well, here they are at the top of the order again. Neto and Trout, and Miles will face them again. Ground ball to third. Okamoto again. High throw, but Sosa has it. 2 down. Boy, this is going exactly as John Schneider had hoped.
Just about to say that, Dan. You took the words right out of my mouth. It's perfectly set up for how efficient he was in the first inning. As you see, Okamoto really set his feet. Be efficient, try and get 15 outs, 12 outs. I think if they could get 12 outs out of Miles, I think they'd be thrilled.
2 down. Here's Trout, who struck out in the first.
Maybe 9, 10 outs. 12's a bit aggressive.
Yeah.
12's aggressive.
It's interesting because the way Kurt Suzuki did his lineup, he's almost encouraging John Schneider to leave Miles out there for as long as is possible. Now to play right side. It's 1-2.
And I think this is why Spencer Miles was so valuable to the Blue Jays. His ability to do something like this, not be a 1-inning reliever that can only go 15, 20 pitches, the ability to be stretched out. I think that was very intriguing and why they took a chance on him in the Rule 5 draft.
Which teams that expect to contend don't often do. You got to carry him for the whole season. Ground ball to third. Okamoto again. Dug out by Sosa. And how about the work by Spencer Miles here this afternoon? 3 scoreless. On the ice tonight, it is Game 3 between the Sabres and the Canadiens. The series all tied up at 1. It comes your way at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. And then Game 4 between the Golden Knights and the Ducks a little bit later on in the evening. Isn't it funny how our director Troy Clara always seems to manage to find guys wearing Canadiens hats and jerseys? It's almost like he's the biggest fan in the world of the Canadiens.
Wow.
But he wouldn't put his own personal interest in front of the show like that repeatedly,
Never.
would he?
Or rub it in the color guy's face that his team beat the Lightning.
Right. You've been taking some punches from him. Bottom 3, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays. Top of the order, Clement, Varsho, and Guerrero. That's just outside. So again, if you were with us off the top of the show, or you may know many other ways, that Addison Barger was a late scratch today. Not good news. Elbow soreness. Was it because of that throw yesterday? We don't know. It was late. We'll all get more information from John Schneider after the game, as this is line to right and caught by Soler. Boy, Ernest made good contact twice, but has nothing to show for it. This was the hardest throw of Addison Barger's career. It was an incredible throw. Now again, no way to know if the two are related. The only thing we know is it's not good news that he's out of the lineup with elbow soreness 1 day after returning. John Schneider will obviously provide more information after the game, but they just got him back. Hopefully it's just minor, precautionary, a day or two, but no way to know right now.
There isn't, and you knew that he was coming into that game with a ton of adrenaline and energy, wanting to make a contribution. Feels like probably opening day for him, and hopefully it's something minor, because they need him. He brings an infectious style of play. Manager John Schneider just loves the way that he gets down the line, that throw. He's just a very high energy type of player. He does everything at one speed, and when you watch, you want to kind of follow in those footsteps.
Couple of strikes on Dalton Varsho, who had a base hit in the first, and a fastball up at the top of the zone will get him here. 2 down. And now both Nance and Lauer are up. Guerrero fights it off, so we'll see how it unfolds. Are they waiting to bring in Lauer until Shotwell comes up? Does it matter to them if Lauer gets a clean inning? If Nance is up, I would think Nance is coming in to start the inning.
I think it's Soler. If I'm being honest, I think it's Soler they're worried about. I don't think they want Lauer to face Soler right now. I think they like the breaking balls versus Soler from Nance, the right-handed pitcher. But I'm also with you, Dan. I thought that they would really want Lauer to have a clean inning. And it's possible that maybe they send Nance out there to go through the 4th inning and then give Lauer the 5th.
Spencer Miles sure did his job. 3 terrific innings here today. Guerrero gets jammed a bit and hits a soft liner to second, and Soriano has settled down. He's retired 7 in a row. Better Together is brought to you by Heinz, because a hot dog just isn't a hot dog without Heinz. All I know is every time we run a food promo, like I lose you for a few seconds. Your eyes glaze over. And
yeah, I'm hungry now.
Yeah. Casadillas during the game yesterday. Happy Mother's Day to all the Blue Jays trying to complete a sweep of the Angels and leading 1-0 here going to the top of the 4th. And John Schneider has indeed gone to the bullpen. After 3 great innings from Spencer Miles, it'll be Tommy Nance coming into the ballgame. Nance worked the 9th inning in last night's game. First batter for him today is Vaughn Grissom. Grissom, Soler, and Adele, 3 right-handed batters coming up. Nance faced Grissom last night, got him to hit into a double play ball. Neither Soler nor Adele saw him yesterday. Ground ball to short, sharply hit, but right at Andres Jimenez. 1 down. So Lauer is up in the pen. Again, he needs a little bit longer to get loose, generally a starting pitcher. Best case scenario for John Schneider, Nance goes 1-2-3 against the righties, and then Schneider can bring Lauer out for the 5th against the lone left-handed batter in the order in Shotwell. If that doesn't happen, we'll see how Schneider plays it. You liked this matchup, the breaking balls of Nance, curve and slider against Soler.
I do.
So of course he starts him with a fastball.
I just think stuff moving. Yeah, well, it's a perfect way to set it up, especially backdoor. And I was going to play that X game off of that. But I think stuff moving away from Soler is better.
Define play the X game.
So you got a backdoor pitch. That first pitch was on the outer half, and Heineman sets up on the outer half. It's kind of a 2-seamer type action, and it moves to the outer half. Now that's one line. Now you're going to play a slider coming off of that same lane, pitched on the outer half, and it's instead of moving towards the batter, it's moving away, coming out of the same lane. One goes left, one goes right.
Curveball lifted to right. Sanchez over towards the line will make the catch for out number 2.
You know, some people use the term tunneling, and that's the same thing. You want pitches coming out of the same lane and darting, dipping, and diving in different directions. That helps with deception. That's kind of what Tommy Nance does, is he plays those X games all over the place and makes you wonder which one's going to happen.
Pete Walker on the phone out to the bullpen, just giving them the latest, what the game plan is. Here's Joe Adell, who doubled in the second, and he waves at a breaking ball way off the outside corner. One and one. These types of games probably lead to even more conversation between a manager and a pitching coach. That's hit up the middle. Clemens got it, bounces it across in time. Gave Sosa a good hop, and Nance has a 1-2-3 fourth.
Celebrate the return of a close, longtime friend of the team with a retro Domer hat giveaway. On Wednesday, June 24th, fans can take home a vintage-style cap featuring the beloved Sky Dome mascot, Domer the Turtle. Buy your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Dan?
And a thank you. Domer with the kids here on a Junior Jays Sunday. Kids and mascots, it always works. Dads and mascots too, I guess, a little bit out there. The big kids and the mascots. So 1-0 Blue Jays, and the man at the plate right now, Kazuma Okamoto, has driven in that one run. A 2-out line drive double into the left field corner in the first off Jose Soriano. Mike Trout is 0 for 2 today, both against Spencer Miles. Swing and a miss. Boy, that is a lot of movement, and sometimes that curveball goes more straight down. That one moved right to left.
Looked a little bit more like a sweeper. You see that knuckle curve, that index kind of curled underneath.
High fly to left center. It appears to be playable, and it is for Teodosio. 1 down. Even the misses feel like he just is missing these days.
Yeah, even yesterday he hit a ball to center field 109 off the bat. Everything about it was perfect except the launch. He's really laser locked in right now. Stay right there. Stay right there.
One down for Jesus Sanchez, who walked in the first. And Sanchez asked for his timeout very early here in this at bat after just the first pitch. Out of play left side, 0-2. Eric Lauer's up. The one left-handed batter in the Angels lineup is due up first next inning. Tommy Nance is breaking it down with Pete Walker. I think we have our answer as Sanchez strikes out. It looks like Lauer will come in for the 5th, but again, the combination of Miles, 3 innings, Nance the 4th. Wow, did John Schneider get a lot out of the way he is trying to work his way through this ballgame.
Before every game, the coaches are in there trying to map it out. That's kind of what they talk about. They're trying to pocket each guy perfectly, and rarely does it ever work out exactly how you map it out. But I think this game so far, it's to a T.
Couple of quick outs, and here's Lenyn Sosa, who struck out to end the first. Sosa, including the at-bat of the first inning, has had 85 plate appearances this year. He has not drawn a single walk.
It's Ernie Clement territory right there.
Nance's afternoon is done. He got 3 outs, middle of the order guys too. Dribbler off the end of the bat, right side, 3-1 on the putout, and now 10 in a row set down by Soriano to the 5th with Eric Lauer coming in.
When he's at his best. You know, this really dates back to spring training when the Blue Jays pitching group showed him the biomechanical feedback that demonstrated how he'd lost fluidity in his delivery. As he put it, ideally he's being athletic and snappy down the mound rather than robotic and clunky. Lauer feels like his mechanics grew a little too stiff last season in an effort to maximize his command. Now, he also said that after his start at Tropicana Field on Monday, when he was averaging 90 miles per hour with his fastball, he intended to throw a velo pen ahead of today's outing, and that's essentially a bullpen session focused on max effort velocity, or as he put it, really trying to rip it. So that's rather than working on pitch shape or location. And Dan, opponents are slugging nearly 600 against Lauer's fastball this season, so clearly every mile per hour he can access is meaningful.
Right. When you're 98, Arden, thank you, and maybe you dip to 96, you could still probably get away with more than when you're 92 and you dip to 90. So we'll watch for that as he faces Nolan Shotwell here to begin the 5th inning. And it misses high with the first pitch, ball 1. 6, 7, 8. Shotwell, the only left-handed bat in the lineup today, then Peraza and Rivero. On the outside corner, 1-1, but a challenge.
The batter's challenging the pitch.
This closer look is brought to you by Specsavers. And it is a successful challenge, not by much, but a good one by Shotwell. So that's now a 2-0 count. I saw some numbers a few days ago, and I think at that point catchers were about 60% successful on their challenges. Hitters were around 46% successful on their challenges. That's in there, 3-1. Oh, you could see Shotwell. I don't know, that was the right arm was coming up almost as if he was going to do it again, but decided against it. That's ball 4. A leadoff walk here in the 5th.
Yeah, not the way you want to start your afternoon, especially considering in the big leagues, leadoff walks score just under 50% of the time. That's why he's so vital to try and make that first batter of each inning, put that ball in play, let your defense work, especially when it's your first batter of the outing.
Faced the Angels as a starter on April the 22nd, gave up 3 runs in 5 innings. Here's Oswald Peraza, who takes down and in, ball 1. Gave up a couple of home runs in that outing, 1 to Shotwell, 1 to Mike Trout. Outside, 2-0. And Tyler Heineman going to the mound.
Yeah, and this is a good visit. You just got to get Lauer in the zone. Only up 1-0. You know that one swing can kind of turn this game, but with that being said, you got to find a way to get in the zone, get aggressive. Angels are already swinging. They've put quite a few balls in play, but you got to get your guy going, because free passes, that's when you start to give free momentum to the other squad.
And because they got 3 innings out of Miles, 1 out of Nance, they're a little deeper into the game maybe than when they anticipated bringing Lauer in. Like, I'm sure John Schneider already has, you know, kind of a blueprint in his head about when he would go to the higher leverage guys if the score stays the way it is right now. A long look at the runner, and the 2-0 is hit to left field and deep, and this ball is gone into the second deck. And just like that, the Angels have taken a 2-1 lead.
Well, Lauer goes to the cutter trying to get a strike, and it's been a pitch that has either worked out really well for him or ended in a long ball. And Peraza kind of gets this cripple mistake cutter out over. He catches it out in front. He's in a 2-0 count. He's thinking pull side, and it just finishes middle. Because you don't have to reverse to spin. Those cutters, they go forever.
As you can see, Peraza knew it very quickly. So the Angels lead after a walk and a home run here in the top of the fifth. Fifth of the season for Peraza. And now an 0-2 count on Sebastian Rivero. Foul back. It remains 0-2, and it's just his first inning. But the fastballs have been 90-91. So, you know, Arden talked about 89-90. The norm is about 92. He's kind of somewhere in between, but still not showing the best velocity or his typical velocity.
And he talked about that mechanical adjustment, talking to Pete Walker about that. It's kind of getting behind the rubber, and a lot of times he'll pick that leg up and he'll kind of stay more straight up and down and kind of fall down the mound there, trying to get that leg curled underneath to gain some power.
One hopper to short, right at Jimenez. Rivero retired, one down.
So it's a combination of getting that lead leg, the one that he lifts, his right leg up and across and back behind him so he can sink into his lower half, and then getting down the mound quickly, creating speed, creating momentum quickly to really speed that arm up and create some velocity.
Number 9 hitter Bryce Teodosio, the center fielder, grounded out in his one at bat. Lauer goes to the curveball to steal a first pitch strike.
So see if you can get down that mound a little bit quicker, get a little bit curled more underneath. And if he doesn't have that velocity, Dan, I think the curve is the pitch to use. It's the pitch that slows things down to, if you've got 90, if you can continue to use that slow curveball, it can make 90 feel like 92, 93.
Ahead 1-2. Down and in. Got him. Swings through a high fastball for out number 2. Strikeouts are brought to you by Subway. Get 25% off any footlong on game days. Order in the Subway app using code STRIKEOUT. Now the top of the order. Beginning with Zach Neto. A strikeout and a ground out, both of those against Spencer Miles. Line to left, it's a fair ball, and down into the corner. Straw corrals it, but Neto gliding into second with a 2-out double.
That's another cutter from Lauer. And just with where his fastball is at, I'm ditching the cutter. I'm ditching the cutter. I'm going slow curveball. I'm going changeup, and I'm going four-seam fastball. That cutter, it's too in between of the fastball that guys that are slightly ahead, they still have enough room for error to pull balls down the line.
So now Lauer's got to face Mike Trout. There's a base open. I thought they might put Trout on here and pitch to Vaughn Grissom. Trout homered off Lauer in Anaheim 3 weeks ago, but at least at the outset here, Lauer will pitch to him. Curveball bounce foul, 1-1. So 2 curveballs in the at-bat. Jose Soriano, after a bumpy first, 3 up, 3 down in the second and the third and the fourth. And the home run this inning by Peraza has given the Angels the lead. Up and away. Neto the lead out at second, 2 down. A long look back by Lauer and misses again. 3 balls and a strike. Are you kind of fine right now if he just winds up at first base?
100%.
Yep.
On the edges or ball 4.
Three and 2, a changeup down and in. That Trout foul tipped into the mid of Heineman.
Same scenario though, Dan. This is where you can get baited into really going for the out. Stay disciplined around the edges or take ball 4. Very dangerous hitter up there. Don't get sucked into the moment.
The 3-2. And Trout takes a fastball up for ball 4. Pete Walker jogging out to the mound. The batter is going to be Vaughn Grissom, who was 1 for 2. 2 runs in, 2 men on, 2 outs.
He's been giving him some really steady at-bats the last 2 days. Grissom has been really stingy in plate discipline. You're probably going over a couple different things right now. How you get ahead, how you get back in the count, how you get even. I'd love to see a little slow breaking ball first pitch. Kind of get him pushing and pulling a little bit. He's looked, Grissom has for me, like he's really been hanging on that backside, not really moving off of that. The best thing to do when you have a guy that's really hanging back and seeing the ball well is to try and pull them. Slow curveball does that. Then you start reading after that what he does and start pre-planning and going pitch to pitch after that.
And when you say reading, you're talking mainly about Heineman, the catcher, reading the swing, what they think might be successful.
100%.
Yeah.
How he moves, if he leans towards it, even if he doesn't swing, just his movements in the box.
Line drive right center, base hit. And more. It's going all the way to the track. 1 run is home. Trout's around third. He will score. And now they've got Grissom hung up between second and third, and he'll basically concede, but he just drove in 2 more runs. And the Angels get 4 in the inning to take a 4-1 lead as we send you to Jamie Campbell. After a monster performance from Victor Wembanyama in Game 3, the Spurs will look to take a 3-1 lead on the Timberwolves. Don't miss Game 4 tonight at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Sportsnet 1. So the Angels with 4 off Eric Lauer in the top of the 5th now lead 4-1. Jose Soriano got locked in the last few innings after the Blue Jays really made it tough on him in the first. It'll be the bottom 3rd. Jimenez, Straw, and Heineman here in the bottom of the 5th. Jimenez struck out his first time out. Fly ball shallow center field. Teodosio in, 1 down. And that's now 11 in a row set down by Soriano.
Really started going back to that sinker. He's thrown 17 in this outing. We talked about him throwing a little bit more 4-seamer the last few. But as soon as you get a feel for that sinker, you can start throwing that splitter, that knuckle curve right behind it. The action's late, it's tight. Might have missed their window to jump him.
Miles Straw hit a fly ball to right field in the second. Straw came into the game hitting .295 and hitting .370 against right-handed pitching this year. It is not an everyday role, obviously, but in his role, Miles Straw has been outstanding this year. This one's hit to center. Deep but playable for Teodosio. 2 down. Straw is making good contact. He is getting the ball in the air, generally pulling the ball a lot. Didn't there. That had a lot of distance, but was hit to straightaway center. But Miles Straw deserves a lot of credit for the way he's played so far this year.
One of those glue guys in the clubhouse. Keeps it light, but to have a guy that can come off the bench and produce the way he has with irregular playing time, very, very valuable.
And he was the guy inserted into the lineup when Barger was scratched. He was not in the original starting lineup today. Tyler Heineman hit a fly ball to center in his first at bat. By the way, nobody up in the Blue Jays pen, so Eric Lauer coming back out for the top of the 6th. It has been a tough go for him this year, a guy who was such an important part of the pitching staff last year in multiple roles. Really bailed him out of a ton of jams a season ago, but not having the same kind of success here this year. The 0-2 from Soriano did not go, and it's 1 ball 2 strikes. Nice play by Soriano. Underhand to first, and yet another 3 up 3 down inning.
Still going on strong. There are so many games and activities for the little ones to enjoy, and at the same time, mom can enjoy some exclusive food and beverage options. It's really easy to feel energized up here at Park Social, well, because it's a place unlike any other at the Rogers Center. It truly feels like you're in your very own backyard, but with the ultimate form of entertainment, the Blue Jays game in the background. What could be better than hanging out with your friends in a backyard feel and watching the Jays? I think the only thing that could be better, Dan, is if the dome was open. I'm waiting for that to happen. It'll help my schedule a lot because I can start tanning while I'm at work.
We would all love to see spring make its much awaited arrival. It has taken a while to get here. Hopefully by the next homestand, which is later on in the month of May, it'll be warm enough to open the roof. Great crowd though, again, I mean every single game. Blue Jays won the first 2 of this series, but trailing 4-1 in this one going to the 6th inning. Don't forget the Rays are here. There's 3 more games coming on this homestand. The Blue Jays would love to get a little revenge on Tampa Bay after they just got swept. I don't know how you felt as a player about this, but playing a team one week and then the next week playing them again. So some of the pitchers are seeing the same team twice, and it, both teams have to deal with it. I never loved the idea of seeing a team twice within like a 10-day span or something like that.
I loved it as a hitter because you feel like you've just seen these guys and there hasn't been a lot of time off, but it was more of a challenge on the defensive side.
Strike 3 called as Lauer drops one in over the outside corner to get a Jorge Soler. The Rays are playing some great baseball right now. The sweep of the Blue Jays, and they entered play today 25-13 on the season. A day off on Thursday. The Blue Jays head to Detroit for 3. Then their first meeting with the Yankees this year. 4 games in the Bronx before they come back home to start another homestand against the Pirates and the Marlins. Tampa Bay 25-13. The Yankees 26-14. Both games 12 games over. Both teams 12 games over. Both teams leading in their games today. The 3rd best record in the American League belongs to the A's at 21-18. The Blue Jays are in a big mushy middle of the American League where a lot of teams are underperforming or just not playing as well as they had hoped, and eventually some teams will start separating themselves from the pack. But with the Rays coming and then the Yankees coming, that's some tough games coming up for this Blue Jay team. Joe Adell lifts one to deep right field. Sanchez just turns and watches it go into the second level to the opposite field for a home run to make it 5-1.
It's a really nice swing by Adell. Straight to the opposite field, 385 feet. This ball's on the outer half. It's not a terrible pitch, but Adell just waits on that backside and just lets it travel. And it's not a strike. It's off the plate. And when you're throwing pitches off the plate and they're able to hang back and go opposite field, that sends up the alarm bells right away. Did we not use the inner half enough? Is he sitting on it? Is he looking away? Do we not have him pulling off of his weight, transferring that weight enough? That's those type of swings, Dan. Those are the ones that scared me a lot. And I think if you're Lauer, you've got to really get creative here, and especially Heineman. You're in the middle of it, and so you got to find ways. You might have to throw different sequences that you would never throw, pitches in certain spots you would never try to throw. Use the arsenal, change it up, because he obviously just doesn't have that elite velocity that he needs to create room for error.
Back to the curveball at 0-2, fouled up by Shonowell. Shonowell was the first batter Lauer faced to begin the top of the fifth. He walked him, and then the next batter, Oswald Peraza, hit a home run. The Angels wound up getting 4. They've added another one here on the Adell homer. Line drive center field, right at Varsho, 2 down. The Angels will swing and miss a lot. They will strike out a lot, but if you make mistakes, they will hit home runs. They are one of the best home run hitting teams in the American League.
Yeah, 4th in the AL. 47 coming into this game, added 2 more. That's now 49 on the year for the Angels.
Peraza with a fly ball to right, down the line. Sanchez there. Makes the catch. It's 5-1 Angels going bottom 6.
Five for his last 40, and then promptly doubled that hit total in one afternoon, including this solo shot. When I talked to him about it after the game, he told me it was simply validating to see some of the changes he'd made to his pregame work start to pay off. And what does he mean by that? Well, over the last several days, Clement's increased the speed of his off-field reps. He's been facing higher velocity off of pitching machines and taking harder hit ground balls during his infield work. He said he knew he needed to make an adjustment when he began taking his slump at the plate out to the field with him. You might remember him misplaying a couple of ground balls. He threw inaccurately on a couple of plays he typically handles without issue at second base. Clement said all the stuff that happens before the game just needed to be more game-like. I needed to challenge myself because sometimes the game can speed up on you.
Interesting, even for a guy who obviously works very hard. We all know that. He's been in the big leagues for a few years, to say that he needed to improve the speed and pace of his pregame stuff so that the game wasn't speeding up on him.
I agree.
Lifts a little looper to shallow center field. Teodosio in, and an out on the first pitch here for Jose Soriano to begin the bottom of the 6th. Blue Jays have not gotten a sniff of anything since the first inning. Varsho singled with 1 out, scored on a 2-out double by Okamoto. Sanchez walked, and that's the last base runner. 14 in a row now set down by Soriano. Fouled off, 0-2.
A very simple recipe for Soriano. 15 of 18 first pitch strikes coming into this inning. Now 17 for 20. He's getting ahead, and then he's starting to expand. Now in an 0-2 count, he can expand even more. And with his elite stuff, you get the opposing team into swing mode, and then you force the issue. You start to tell them, I want you to hit this pitch in that location. Pitch in ahead. Best pitch in baseball, strike 1.
Outside, 2-2. Okamoto getting ready, a couple of spots away. Varsho trying to get something started here. And he got him to chase down low for out number 2.
Looked like the splitter from Soriano, and it's a hard one. It's 93 miles per hour, and he kind of yanks it a little bit. And a lot of times when you see this ball coming out of the inner lane, you're expecting splitters to be on the outer lane, and it can fool your mind into thinking it's a sinker. And watch how Varsho's going to swing right over the top of it, probably reading that as a sinker out the hand, but it just dives right underneath the barrel.
So 2 down, and here's Guerrero, who has grounded out back to the mound and lined out to second. Soriano behind 2-0. And a 2-hopper to short. And the outs just keep on coming here for Jose Soriano. End of 6, 5-1 Angels.
This season, celebrate 2 legendary Blue Jays, Jose Bautista and Edwin Encarnacion. On Friday, May 22nd, the first 15,000 fans will receive the Bautista and Encarnacion Home Run Flex bobblehead, showcasing their iconic celebration. See the full promotions and event schedule at bluejays.com/promotions. You get 2 bobbleheads in one, Dan.
Not a bad deal. Top 7 here, 5-1 Angels. Eric Lauer back on the mound to begin his 3rd inning of work. Sebastian Rivero, the catcher and number 8 hitter for the Angels, with a swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. At this point, given that they're down 4, you know, unless the Blue Jays make some moves and get back, and I mean score some runs, try to, you know, make this a little bit more of a game. If this were closer, you might see a Fluharty, maybe a Hoffman, you know, getting up at some point, but down 4. There's nobody up, and it looks like Lauer is out there for a while again, unless the Blue Jay offense can maybe get back into it. Lifted to shallow right. Sanchez, 1 down.
Catch every pitch with Canada's most reliable 5G Plus network and best 5G Plus network. Rogers, we got you.
Final game of the series between the Blue Jays and the Angels. The Blue Jays looking for a sweep, but they have got some work to do. Bryce Teodosio, the center fielder, is 0 for 2. Scherzer, as always, ball in hand. You and I had a chance to speak with Max before. He's frustrated on the IL, trying to figure out this forearm thing. Had a cortisone shot, and you know, hoping he can get back sooner rather than later. But with Scherzer, obviously there's some unknown right now. With Jose Barrios, obviously there's some unknown right now. Neither one of those guys is close. Shane Bieber is starting to ramp up, but it is still weeks away. This one driven to the opposite field and caught by Sanchez. A little bit of an adventure, but he makes the catch. 2 down. So with no Scherzer or Barrios on the horizon, with Bieber several weeks away, obviously, you know, the one injury we probably haven't talked about enough is the very unfortunate injury to Cody Ponce, who would have been a big part of this staff. Sure. Was injured in his first start of the season. That, you know, they had built up all of this depth, and probably in part because they knew they had some health questions coming into the season.
Just Savage.
Yep. There's a ground ball to short. Jimenez has it on to first in time to get Neto, and Lauer with a 1-2-3, top of the 7th. Are you a Rogers customer? Watch for Canada's winning inning during the game. When the Blue Jays get a hit, you could win amazing prizes courtesy of Rogers Beyond the Sea. They have not had a hit since the first As this game goes to the bottom of the 7th. It'll be Okamoto, Sanchez, and Sosa. Again, a day off for George Springer today. Addison Barger, a late scratch with elbow soreness. More news undoubtedly forthcoming from John Schneider after the game. Okamoto 1 for 2 has driven in the only run for the Blue Jays today. You can see the way he reacted to that curveball. It's a good curveball.
It is. It's sharp. It's late. He can start it on that inner lane to right-handed hitters and just break it right back towards the outer half.
Swing and a miss as he went back to the breaking ball again. It's 1-2.
But the hardest thing to do, Dan, against these type of pitchers is try and eliminate pitches, eliminate speeds, or eliminate sides. It's so tough because they're able to maneuver all around the zone. And I think Okamoto's had the best at-bats because I think he's looking hard close to him. And so when you see a breaking ball in the outer half, your brain, if you're really, really intent on looking on the inner half, your brain will naturally check down on something soft away. But if you start trying to chase him around the zone, he's going to eat your lunch.
And he got him. Strike 3 called for out number 1. Well, he just kept throwing curveballs and sliders.
And that's what you try and kind of dare him to do if you're going to look hard in. And he's got that good long wingspan. He starts it on the outer half. It just locks him up. And you got to pick a side. Right now, you got to create some sort of pressure because he's in total cruise control right now. And you got to do something different. Pick a side and really be on time for it.
Sanchez takes a strike at the knees. Six strikeouts now this afternoon for Soriano. Big cut in the foul back. 1-2. Four-seamer up to 98. $14 runs yesterday, but just 1 here today. And another tough outing, especially in that first inning of work for Eric Lauer, giving up 4 runs in his first inning of work, 5 runs in 3. Trey Savage yesterday went 4 scoreless innings. And then the offense just blew it open after that. Outside. Savage's next start figures to be in the first game of the series at Detroit. Again, after 3 with the Rays, the Blue Jays are heading on the road to Detroit and New York. So if everybody stays lined up, he will start at Comerica and he will start at Yankee Stadium. Swing and a miss, 2 down. And Savage did not start at Yankee Stadium, did not pitch at Yankee Stadium in the playoffs last year. He started game 2 here, I believe, and the only outing he made on the road in October was game 5 at Dodger Stadium when he was incredible. But it'll be a new experience. There's still a lot of new experiences coming for him.
That's an iconic ballpark. You always remember your first in all these new places. Dodger Stadium, Yankee Stadium, Fenway Park. They say it's America's most beloved ballpark. I'm not so sure about that.
They do say that a lot there. I love going there.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Come on. I will say it is, as a first-year player, and you start hitting and checking all these boxes, Wrigley. It is pretty surreal to think that you're standing in the same box as some of the greats that have done it before you.
Am I correct that you hit 1 home run as a Blue Jay and it was at Fenway Park?
My last hit as a Blue Jay was at Fenway Park. And yeah, what a memorable one. Right over the monster.
Wasn't it like a dreary, rainy kind of night, I think?
Yeah, it was a day game.
Oh,
and,
was it? Okay.
Yeah, as soon as I hit it, you were as shocked as you could be.
Yeah,
Not only did I make contact, but I hit it over the wall.
Well, those were the COVID days, and I was back in the studio, and I'm trying to get myself off the hook for butchering the call.
No, it was perfect. I loved it. Like Joseph hit the ball. Love it.
Line to center, Teodosio charging in to make the catch. Through 7, 5-1 Angels. And time now for a Blue Jays Central update with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker.
Dylan Cease has been painting corners all season long, and now you can celebrate the art of pitching with your very own Dylan Cease collectible. On Wednesday, June 10th, the first 15,000 fans at the Rogers Center will receive a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Get your tickets now at bluejays.com/promotions. Dan?
Anna, thank you. He has been something else. That last start of his that came on Friday night, 7 scoreless against these very Angels. Didn't walk a batter, struck out 10. And like Davis Schneider, has a lot of fans, in part because of the mustache, but in part obviously because of the potential that he has in the rotation. And again, after his last start Friday, told us he was so satisfied with that start because he felt it was the best combination of his stuff and his command. And he knows if his stuff is locked in and his command is locked in, they're going to have problems with him.
Yeah, he was efficient. 97 pitches in that outing and through 66 strikes, and I just love the creativity that he was starting to bring. And it just seems like he's really turning a corner in wanting to be a pitcher versus just a strikeout artist. These are two very different things, and to be a pitcher allows you to get deeper into the game, allows you to move in different situations.
0-2 pitch to Mike Trout is found out of play. Trout is 0 for 2 with a walk.
But it's scary, Dan, to think that he could get even better. And I think just an entire year around the entire pitching department, whether that's Pete Walker or all of the specialists underneath there, they're going to really do some work and continue to get him better.
Kevin Gausman told me a couple of days ago one of his favorite things about Dylan Cease is how many questions he asks. He goes, like, Cease is not a kid. He's been around doing this at a very high level, signed a big contract, but he has come in and he'll ask questions of anybody in an effort to get better. Gausman, Scherzer, Pete Walker, the other members of the pitching department, he's always looking to learn, always looking, maybe what helped that guy can help me. And he is not content where he is. He is constantly striving to get better. Ground ball up the middle, waiting for it, Clements, and on to first to get Trout. Vaughn Grissom is 2 for 3, had a 2-run double off Lauer in the 5th to cap a 4-run inning. Nobody up in the Blue Jays pen and nobody up in the Angels pen. So Jose Soriano, who was at 90 pitches, is going to come back out to begin the bottom of the 8th.
Yeah, that Angels pen has been an absolute nightmare for them. That's why you were kind of hoping if the Blue Jays could really kind of do something, create the higher pitch count against Soriano, make him work, maybe even score a couple runs off of him. It would force Kurt Suzuki to kind of go to his pen, where it's probably the weakest link on their ball club for sure.
Curveball that Grissom reaches for and pokes foul.
That's the swing right there, Dan. That's the swing. Like, if you're not going to have 92, 93, I feel like that's the pitch. That finally pulled Grissom off that backside. Kind of ran and jumped towards that ball. Now you've got him in between. Now you can go underneath again. You can bust him up with a fastball. Now you have options because you got him off that backside. And then 92 feels like 93, 94. For me, he has got to be playing the push-pull game right now. Push-pulling, meaning slowing guys down with the curveball, getting them out in front, and then pushing them back with whatever fastball he has.
He is averaging 90.5 with the fastball today. And again, it's not a huge difference, but his general peak is around 92. If he's healthy, if his delivery is sound, then he's usually around 92. Challenge here from Grissom.
The pitch is called a strike. The batter is challenging.
Really good presentation by Heineman here.
Call is overturned. Los Angeles has 2 remaining.
Angels are 2 for 2 challenging.
Grissom's had a couple of these this 3-game series, and he's right on it. I mean, before the pitch even almost gets in the glove, he's calling for the review.
So instead of a strikeout, it's now 2-2. Got it. Swing and a miss for out number 2.
I just think that's the recipe. Grissom's really been on the fastball this entire series. That one breaking ball just kind of put him out of sorts, late on the fastball above 3 pitches earlier, and then blows a fastball by him on the outer half.
Now Jorge Soler, the batter. Curveball catches the outside corner. There you go, Caleb. It's 0-2.
I'm telling you, there it is. First pitch was a curveball, really wild swing. Now you're in the driver's seat. Push, pull game right now.
Struck him out. Flowers now set down 8 in a row. A lot of moms, a young Messi fan, and a lot of moms in the house here on a Mother's Day. Again, happy Mother's Day to all. Blue Jays took an early lead in this one, got a run on the first. Moms do rock.
Love that.
Toronto tempo. 5-1 Angels going to the bottom of the 8th. The Blue Jays just a run on 2 hits, and all of that came back in the first. They have not had a base runner in this game since the first inning. So maybe not a bad idea by Andres Jimenez to try to bunt his way aboard to get something started. Josh Lowe has entered the game in left field for the Angels. Joe Adell from left to right. Jorge Soler is out of the game. Sent foul left side, 1-2. Ground ball right side. Nice sliding stop by Peraza, and he gets him 1 down.
Well, Soriano just continues to put the ball on the ground. It's not a bad pass by Jimenez, but check out Peraza getting fully extended, and he knows because the ball was hit with a little bit of authority, he's got some time. That little spin move right there, controls, gets a good grip, flicks it over there to first base.
Now Miles Straw 0 for 2 on a couple of fly ball outs. Sam Bachman is up in the Angels pen. Soriano nearing 100 pitches. Roller left side, and the third baseman Grissom cuts in front of the shortstop Neto, and with Straw being as fast as he is, they don't get him, and that's an interesting one. I don't know if anybody gets him, but I think Neto was saying, you know what, that might have been an easier play for me.
Yep, he's going to be circling around, getting his momentum around that baseball. They're having the conversation right now about it. And Straw, we talked about the jailbreak swing yesterday. Watch how he reaches for this ball, and as he's reaching, he's already in motion. He's in motion to run to first base. That's what that means, and he gets a little bit of of a head start. He's not hanging on the backside and then having to get into his sprint speed. He is swinging as he's running. You got to make a perfect play. Probably neither of them get him there.
Now Tyler Heineman. The first hit, the first base runner for the Blue Jays since the first inning. Let's see if Heineman can make this one a little more interesting by getting on and getting the top of the order up with something cooking. Fly ball to center. Going a long way, but caught by Teodosio just shy of the track. Jeff Hoffman is up in the Blue Jays pen. He pitched a couple of days ago, so you know, as we all know, they've said they don't want to let him sit for too long. Don't know if he is coming in no matter what, or maybe just if the Blue Jays make this one a little bit closer. 2 down. Here's Ernie Clement, 0 for 3. All 3 in the air to the outfield. Hoffman, by the way, he and I were talking about this yesterday. In his outing on Friday, he hit 99. Dylan Cease hit 99. Louis Varland hit 100. The first time in Blue Jay franchise history, and this is a pitch tracking era, 2008. First time, as that's going to drop for a base hit, where 3 different Blue Jay pitchers touched 99 in the same game. Hoffman threw one pitch that matched the hardest pitch he has thrown in his entire career.
He's looking good, and he's starting to feel that confidence. You can just see it in his eyes that he's starting to feel that flow. He's starting to feel what he needs to feel. Locating the ball is Mike Maddox might come out and take a visit here. This is exactly kind of what you were hoping the Blue Jays were going to do. 5th, 6th, 7th, kind of get back into the mind of Soriano. Suzuki's going to come back out. Wonder if this is going to be a change or just a strategy here. The way Suzuki's running to the mound, I think he's up there asking his big fella, hey, how you feel? You feeling good? Can you get this last out? All right, here we go. Typically when a manager walks, they're going to point, but when you see a manager run out there, it's typically a health check. Make sure he's got some in the tank, and they're going to let him finish this. This might be the game right here, Dan. If you can get a base hit across, get into that bullpen, put some pressure on them, you might be able to open it up a little bit.
Dalton Varsho is the batter. Varsho is 1 for 3. It is 5-1, 2 on, 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th. It's outside, ball 1.
Well, if I'm Dalton Varsho right now, I'm looking for something nestling middle down. Typically later in outings like this at 100, 102 pitches, the spin, the rotation of baseballs on breaking balls seem to flatten out just a little bit. See if you can catch a hanging breaker.
Did he check it? He did not. He went around, says Malachi Moore, on a down and in curveball, and it's 1-1. Grounded up the middle. Stopped out at second and safe at first is Varsho. Peraza did all he could, but Varsho with enough speed for it to be called safe. Will the Angels challenge? Yes, they will. And is Varsho okay?
Los Angeles is challenging the call at first base.
Varsho waved off the dugout, but Jose Ministral and John Schneider are on their way out to talk to him as this review is now underway.
Can see Varsho really stretching that right leg. Maybe a little bit of a hyperextension there. Tremendous play by Peraza. I honestly thought he had no chance to get Varsho as that ball's taking Peraza up away from the target. Typically with Varsho's speed, that's not even going to be contested at first base. But he was able to exchange and get that ball over to Shonowell really quickly. Good stretch by Shonowell, and I think it was that real stretch. Looks like he's going to be okay, but he's really getting out there. Watch that left leg just really get out there. And a lot of times when you straighten that leg, you can feel a little bit of a pull in kind of the hip and quad area. Just a little bit of a twinge, so to speak. Seems like he's going to be okay, though.
John Schneider, Jose Menestral have gone back to the dugout. Varsho remains in the game. If he's safe, the bases are loaded, and Guerrero comes up as the tying run. Pretty long review going on in New York.
Are you letting Soriano face Guerrero if it does come back safe, or are you going to your bullpen?
I mean, he has handled Guerrero 3 times here today.
After review, the call stands. The runner is safe.
Call stands. It's a base hit. The bases are loaded, and now we'll keep an eye on Kurt Suzuki, and there is our answer. He will not let Soriano face Guerrero for a 4th time. He wants Sam Bachman. Outstanding performance by Soriano today, but he will leave with the tying run coming to the plate. It'll be Bachman and Guerrero when we come back. So a little drama, a little intrigue here in the bottom of the 8th inning. The bases are loaded with 2 outs. It's 5-1. Sam Bachman, one of the high leverage guys in kind of a bullpen by committee situation for the Angels, is into the game. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who's been going through it for about the last 10 days. He will come up to face Bachman. He has never faced Bachman before. What's he looking for?
Slider, hanging slider, get your direction right. Don't think about pulling, go right back up the box.
There's a slider taken over the inner half for a called strike. Bachman throws the slider 56% of the time, and more than that against righties, but he does have a sinker at 98 as well. Fouled back. Another slider, this one away, and it's 0-2. Soriano wanted to complete that 8th inning, did not get the opportunity. Outside for ball 1. Bachman took a step towards the first base dugout, but that was about a couple of baseballs off the corner. Straw, Clement, and Varsho aboard. And the 1-2 slider down and away. Ball 2. They're doing all they can to try to help Guerrero out here. Reaches for it, grounds it to 3rd, and that will be the inning. The Blue Jays will leave them loaded, and it's still 5-1.
Fans, tonight you can win a chance to throw out the first pitch at a Blue Jays game. Get your tickets before 10 p.m. Eastern, and you can win this prize plus a trip to Bora Bora and gas for a year. Then this Wednesday you could take home the mega jackpot, which is over $1.5 million. Don't miss out. Visit bluejays.com/5050 to get your tickets right now from participating provinces. Dan?
Anna, thank you. Love to see that jackpot continue to climb. Now the Blue Jays made it interesting there in the bottom of the 8th, but came up empty. Eric Lauer is back on the mound here to begin his 5th inning of work, top 9. With Joe Adell sending one foul out of play. Jeff Hoffman had gotten up, and then briefly Louis Varland got up. But after Guerrero bounced into a fielder's choice to end the inning, it is Lauer. One and one on Adell. The Rays in town to begin a 3-game series tomorrow night. Kevin Gausman will get the start. Here's a ball hammered to left field. And up into the second deck. Adell with his second home run off Eric Lauer here today.
6th of the season for Adell. He goes to the opposite field in the 6th and then just turns and burns on this one. 449. It had that sound, that deep crack of the barrel. 115 off the bat. Heineman trying to go on the inner half, and it just finishes middle down away. And he's got that type of stroke right into the honey hole of Adell.
Hit 37 of them last year. He's also got a double here today. Had a couple of hits, including a double on Friday night. He's had a big series.
It's taken a minute for him to really kind of get into his potential. Remember playing against him in 2019, and he was just all over the place. Very highly touted prospect, and give a little credit to the Angels. They really stuck with him. A lot of times, once you kind of move past that prospect type of status, teams will give you a couple years, and it took him a while to figure it out. He had some troubles in the outfield, really couldn't find that power stroke, was sent down multiple times, but he's starting to really feel like good at that plate. You can tell.
10th pick in the draft.
Yeah. Tools galore. Remember seeing him as a youngster and just tons of speed. You could tell the raw power was there, but tons of swing and miss, and starting to figure it out.
2-2 on Nolan Shonowell. We mentioned the Rays are coming to town. They got rained out in Boston last night, and instead of a doubleheader today, it's been pushed back, I think, into July. So that has changed the pitching plans for the Rays. And Drew Rasmussen will start against the Blue Jays. Originally, he was going to go in Boston. But so now the Blue Jays will see Rasmussen tomorrow night, Shane McClanahan Tuesday night, and then Griffin Jacks will start Wednesday night. The Blue Jays have Gausman, Corbin, Cease going in the series. Golf to shallow center field. In comes Varsho into left center to make the play. One down. Ryan Zefferjohn getting ready to work the bottom of the ninth for the Angels. So Gausman will get the start tomorrow. High in the air to center. Lots of room for Varsho. And Peraza is retired. 2 down. The Rays are winning again today. They're at Fenway, and they're up 4-1. Nick Martinez had a good start. Junior Caminero hit a home run. A win today, and Tampa Bay goes to 26-13 on the season. Did not see that one coming.
They've been so relevant throughout the American League in the last 5, 6, 7 years, and then kind of out of nowhere last year they fall off, and they're so good at just jumping back on the bandwagon in terms of being competitive, and they're that team that just churns out pitchers just year in, year out. Who is this guy? Where did he come from? They know exactly what they need to succeed, and I think, honestly, I think getting back at the Trop is a big deal for them. Getting back into their comfort zone, their comfort level, back into a major league setting, and all the things that surround that.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. looking to get going. This has been about 10 days really where it's really been a struggle, and maybe it stems from the fact that he more than anybody wants to see some power, and that maybe he's trying to hit home runs and that's gotten him out of his normal swing. Who knows? But you can see on his face a little bit of bewilderment at times about how things are just not going the way they normally go for him. He was, on top of the baseball world in October. Obviously, was unbelievable for the Blue Jays. Got off to a great start this year in terms of average, but now maybe things have maybe he's starting to think about trying to drive the ball more, hit for more home runs, and maybe that's taken him out of his normal swing. But the hitting coaches are working long and hard with him to try to figure it out. Yeah,
there's no doubt that he's definitely trying to slug. He knows what's at hand. He knows that he's got a slug, especially with Springer and Barger and Kirk not in the lineup. He knows he's a big part of that.
Rivero lifts a high fly ball to shallow right. Sanchez the catch, and that will take this one to the bottom of the ninth. The Sportsnet Plus City TV Plus bundle brings you big moment playoff games, the Blue Jays, and must-watch series from HGTV, Food Network, Bravo, and more. Visit sportsnetplus.ca to bundle today. Bottom of the ninth inning here at the ballpark, and the Angels with a 6-1 lead. Joe Adell, a couple of home runs. Oswald Peraza hit one as well. The damage coming off Eric Lauer today in relief after Miles and Nance had worked 4 scoreless innings between them. Miles 3, Nance 1. Here's Ryan Zefferjohn on in the bottom of the ninth to try to get the final 3 outs for the Angels, with Kaz Okamoto leading it off. An RBI double in the first for the Blue Jays' only run of the afternoon. I know I said it last time up, but he's just missing, even when he's missing. Just missing.
Really balanced, swinging with authority, as Arden mentioned earlier in the broadcast. He's in a really good spot. His swings are controlled. They're on time. Taking good pitches. Making passes at what looks like the pitch he's looking for. These are the things, it's aesthetically pleasing, and I think that's what David Popkins is really looking at for Okamoto. Is he chasing the pitcher around the zone, or is he getting off his best?
I asked Lou Ionati, one of the other hitting coaches, about Okamoto, and I said, does it bother you if there's a lot of swing and a miss? And he says, absolutely not. He says he is driving the ball. He is slugging. Like, you'll take it. Springer swung and missed a fair bit last year, struck out, but put up a great year, because when he did connect, he was doing so much damage, and that looks like the kind of hitter maybe Okamoto could be as well, as Teodosio makes the play for the first out.
Couple different breaking balls for Zefferjohn. Sweeper, slider, 4-seam, sinker, the 2 fastball combinations he's going to feature.
Jesus Sanchez, a walk and then a couple of strikeouts. And a challenge from Jesus.
Pitch is called a strike. The batter challenges.
And it is a strike.
Ball is confirmed. Toronto has 1 remaining.
If any part of the ball is touching any part of the zone, that 2-dimensional zone, which is in the middle of the plate, it's a strike. And now a challenge from the catcher.
Pitch is called a ball. The catcher's challenging.
Might have been called a strike had he not dropped it.
It looked like a little bit of a cross up too. The way that Rivero went to that
pitch. Call is
pitch.
confirmed. Los Angeles has 1 remaining.
You could see him right before that, kind of hitting the buttons on the shin guard. And if he received it, Lance Barrett calls that a strike. Maybe Sanchez doesn't challenge back to back.
1-2. That was Guerrero, I think, asking Varsho, are you okay?
Agree.
Yeah, remember that play at first base?
Stretching.
So, you know, we don't want to make, but just based on what we saw,
sure,
there's some circumstantial evidence there that Varsho told Guerrero, yeah, I'm okay.
And I think everybody in that dugout's a little bit on edge. They've just been bit by the injury bug so often. Hey, you good? You good? You good?
Swung on and missed for out number 2.
Yeah, big swing from Sanchez here with 2 strikes. Probably thinking about one thing, going yard, and it is a good pitch to hit. It's a breaking ball that's up in the zone, and he's just right underneath it. But when he connects, there's a ton of power. But getting that good, solid barrel to baseball has been hard to find from time to time for him.
So the Blue Jays are down to their final out here this afternoon. The batter is Lenyn Sosa, who's 0 for 3. Again, we're back with you tomorrow night. Drew Rasmussen and Kevin Gausman, a really good pitching matchup to open up the 3-game series with the Rays. That is a chase on a ball well off the outside corner, and it is 0-2. George Springer is out in the on decks, or is a couple of spots away up on the top step. So if it gets as far as that, that looks like Miles Straw's spot. Again, we were told just a day for Springer, try to keep him fresh over the long haul, but it will not get to him as Sosa strikes out, and that will end the ball game. The Angels get a strong performance from Jose Soriano, and they swing for power here today, hitting 3 home runs off Eric Lauer to win 6-1, and that prevents the Blue Jays from sweeping the series and drops the Jays to 18-22 on the season.
Looked like the Blue Jays are going to really jump on Soriano. They had a really good first inning, but after that he retired 20 Blue Jays in a row. He had struggled his last 2 starts, but after that first inning he really got in a groove. Blue Jays tried to chase him all around the zone, lots of weak contact, which led to very, very little offense. But got to flush this one as quickly as you can. He's got a tough opponent coming in less than 24 hours.
So couldn't sweep it. They do win the series, and as you say, got to look forward fast because a very tough team is coming to town in the Rays. Right now, to break it down, here's Blue Jay Central with Jamie Campbell and Kevin Barker.
Do it, gangster.
He looked good against Neto here, and then he also managed to get Mike Trout, the number 2 hitter, in the lineup on that breaking ball. Swing and miss there. So he gave up a single, nothing more in the first. Here is the bottom of the first, and Soriano is facing one of the best hitters the Blue Jays have in Okamoto, and he does this, a double into the corner. That scores Varsho. The Blue Jays have a 1-0 lead. They would dearly like a few more runs, but they were tough to come by. Here is Miles working in the second, and wasn't he good over not 1, not 2, but 3 innings, allowing 2 hits, no runs, and giving it up to Eric Lauer, who we knew was going to pitch the bulk of the innings. But things did not go well. He walked the first batter he saw, and then gave up Peraza's home run to left, and suddenly the Angels had a lead that they stubbornly refused to give up. Grissom does this. He hammers it into right center field. 2 come in to score. He gets himself caught in a rundown, but the runs count, and it's 4-1 for the Angels. Joe Adell had himself a day. This one pounded out to right field, so that's number 5 on the year for Adell as he increases Los Angeles' lead. And really, the way this guy pitched, Jose Soriano, my goodness, what an outing for him. 7 2/3. Remember, he gave up that 1 run in the first and then shut it down from there. 5 hits allowed, 7 strikeouts, and as you just heard Caleb Joseph say, at one point he retired 20 in a row. Things got a little interesting in the later innings though, right? Because Varsho manages to beat this out. For a while we thought maybe he was hurt on that play, but here comes Vladimir Guerrero Jr. in the 8th inning with the bases loaded. Sam Bachman gets the ground ball to third, fielder's choice, the out at third, and the frustration for Guerrero Jr. continues as the Blue Jays fall 6-1.